Hey, Mitch Miller, Masonic Storyteller, Anarchist Atheist, www.plotm.com. So we're near the horse statue, and I wanted to show you this information type kiosk with some metalworking. This is where kind of the copper work and ironwork come together on this piece, and it's a very nice piece. Hesitated to speak about it, and I wanted to take photos and really go in depth in the interpretations of it. I'm just going to do like a brief run around, just kind of in the essence of the time here, and my interpretation of the art, and then I could always go back and do other interpretations. That's the beauty of art. You can interpret it in many ways. I want you to take note though that there are 3 clocks affixed on this. 3 clocks up in the copper works on this piece. To me, that says, that represents kind of the United States or North America, Russia and China. And the reason I say that is they're some of the oldest established nations, even though they've gone through periods of government change. They overall have a well-documented history of human history. And so to me, the clocks represent the idea that they teach large populations using textbooks at this time, and no matter how their government kind of shades their public education, the 3 of them combined allow us to have an accepted human history that's documented rather than on a computer. So I want to start on this side, and we're going to look at this the ironwork, and this is where I think the start of this piece goes. Just one more note on the copper work. When I think of the copper and I think of the bronze statues around Europe, and most often you see the bronze or the copper statues, I just want to speak for female. As far as female statues, 2 pop to mind all the time, and that is the Statue of Liberty, which is the kind of welcoming statue for the United States, and Lady Justice. You know, just kind of trying to reference that because a lot of times, unfortunately, we default to the female opinion as to what is fair and what justice is, and for them to be tied to that eternally as their place in government, I don't think is the most correct place. So we're going to look at these ironworks here, and you can see, I think it says 1896, I'm not sure. We have 2 animals. They're like rams or ewes or some kind of like a lamb, male goat, lamb things. But you can see they have different patterns on them representing, to me, on the left, North America, and on the right, maybe the European kind of continent. And, you know, as we know, there are different species or different varieties of the same species depending on the continent. So to me, that represents 2 different types of animals that might be the same species, but they just look a little different because they have been on different continents for hundreds or thousands of years. So we see those 2 animals there in our start date. So we work around here, we have kind of a nautical theme. This is kind of like the Danish theme with the Viking ships up there. We got a squid, our fish on the left. Our fish are just kind of swimming around, but we have kind of a diver type man wrestling a giant octopus there on the right, you know, kind of taming the seas here, but the fish are still swimming on the left. So we come here, we can see on the right we have our pan type figure with a bow shooting at the other animal over there. Some like suns on vines. But if we look up above there, it looks like 2 heads are talking on phones. We got our phones and we got our intercontinental communication lines started there or something. They're talking on some primitive telephone situation across the sea there, and then there's a kind of a structure there. As we come around to here, it touches on what I spoke about. So we have our sprockets and we have our pistons and our wheat fields. kind of industrial farming, industrial revolution and a farming type of situation. We have our scales, which are typically seen with Lady Justice, but over in Europe, they've released her from that. So they're just scales kind of more tied to industry or some type of, you know, something like that. But on the left there, we got a scorpion kind of trying to catch one sun and stinging a sunflower with its stinger. So to me, that's like kind of like the United States maybe messing around in the desert or something like that, and you know, trying to mess with places where there's scorpions and suns and stuff like that. So, but if we notice in the scales there, we got some suns kind of rising up, kind of like you know, solar panels or something like that. We come around to this side. We got up above kind of mutual normalized type of government structure up there. And then we got our sunflowers on the right, and it looks like some chick's trying to really focus on getting a ring on one of those sunflowers. Maybe she kind of likes those kind of sunflower guys. They like plants and solar panels and stuff, and so she's kind of focused on that. On the left, she doesn't maybe really want to mess with the lion people. They're a little dangerous, or hypothetically, that's like the United States kind of starting to mess with places where there's lions and stuff like that. And then interestingly enough, we got some shamrocks on right and left. So, you know, make of that what you want with the shamrock kind of theme. This is coming back around. We got our wise owl, and we're starting to listen to the animals maybe a little bit more, and not so much those gears and things that used to not be controlled by computer automation, but now are. And down below we have our submarine captain crustacean guy with a bunch of suns and solar panels. He's got his tentacles out. He's trying to build the solar panels everywhere. So our submarine captain's over in Europe. On the left, we got like kind of the European Statue of Liberty, whatever that is. It could be male, could be female, holding the staff of kind of knowledge and reaching across the ocean to the United States Statue of Liberty. But they're kind of deadlocked into something over there with their right arm. Kind of held into something, but that's okay. We're coming back around to our start, and we have two different types of animals. They're the same species, they're just been on different continents for a long time. So that's kind of my interpretation, but you can take from it what you will.